Aloha and welcome. We're going to be going over Chapter 6, Neopixel, in this tutorial, and this is going to be a fun one. Project 6.1, the Neopixel, we're going to take an introductory look at it, and let me zoom out a little bit here to give you a little bit better view of it at once. So our component list is going to be simply our Pico W, as always, the star of the show. We're going to need our cable, our micro USB cable. We're going to need the breadboard, and we're going to need our Neopixel. So go ahead. That's going to be one of the, it's sealed up. You're going to have to cut it open, and then we're going to need some jumpers. So for jumpers, I get maybe 2 of the small jumpers out, and then you're going to have a bunch of other ones. Hold on, let me just pull out something to show you. Hold on, let me go ahead and stop the share. And I'm going to show you something. So you have one that's a lot thicker than this, but you're going to notice that at one end of it, you've got these, the male ends, and at the other ends, you've got your female ends. So you can connect these onto pins. So these, when you look at it, you may think that this is like some kind of a serial cable or something, or a parallel cable or something. It's not. These are just made so you can peel them off as you need them. So you can grab one and then just start peeling it off like that. It's just how they're made. So go ahead and peel some off of there. But again, you're going to want the ones that are male at one end, female at the other end. So that is what we're going to be dealing with. So of those types, the male females, we're going to need 3 of those. So get 3 of those. And then we're going to need 2 of the smaller ones where you've just got pin to male pin to male pin. So go ahead and grab some of those, 2 of those to be exact. So we're going to need 3 of our male-female pins, 2 small male-male, and our Neopixel. And that's pretty much all there is to it. And the code is really the beauty on this one. So the code part, let me go ahead and share my screen again. We can go back there. So our Neopixel here, let's take a look at it. So on the back, we have 8 different LEDs that we can play around with on this device. And we have inputs and outputs. And the outputs allow us to send, if we want to daisy chain these things, just attach one to the next, we can use essentially the one cable going on here to, so SVG. So S is going to be our signal, V is going to be our voltage, our power, and G is going to be ground. So with one signal that we send in here, we can actually control this and whatever it's daisy chained to. So we can have this one going to another one, simply going from the out on here onto the in on another one. So we can combine them to do all kinds of neat effects. And if you're thinking about Christmas lights, good, there you go. So anyway, we're going to hook up our leads to this, and I'll show you that on the camera in a few minutes. But oh, here's the way you can hook up one to the next. And over here, it talks about the power control. So you can use either 3.3 or 5.5 volt, and that's so that you can use this with either the Pico W, which uses the 3.3, or the bigger powerful Raspberry Pi, which is, I believe, 5.5. So yep, so G is your ground, S is going to be your input control signal. So I just think of S as the signal, V is volts, and G is ground. So anyway, then we get into the schematics for it. So we see that we're going to be using GP16 to control our signal. That's going to be our control signal. We've also got power that's going to go in here into VCC, and then we've got ground going out to ground. So that looks like a big happy thing. So let's go over here, and we're going to be hooking this up. Now, there's a big problem here. And I didn't realize this until I was looking at it. I'm like, wait a second, we've got a ground here going into our outer rail. Outer rail is normally your positive, or well, actually it depends on the orientation you're looking at. But your blues are your negatives and your reds are the positive, or yeah, the reds are the positive rail. So when you look at this, and I thought maybe I had mine done backwards. So I'm going to zoom in on this to show you. But they've got the top is 1, 10, 15, 25 going down that way. Ours is actually different. Ours is the opposite. So if you started at 1 up here and went down 10, 15, blah, 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 your outer power rail there is going to be red. So it's going to be positive on the outside. You're going to have the negative on the inside, which is very important to know because right here, they have you sending your ground into the outer one. So if you're like me, and you've got it aligned the way I was talking about, you just need to pay attention. It doesn't matter if you send ground or power to each of these. You just need to know which one is which when you go to plug this in. This right here. This is important because you've got ground. You've got your SVG on here. You just need to make sure S goes to signal. We can figure that one out. V is volts, so that needs to go to the power one. So if you're running power on the inside, you need to run to the inside. And your ground needs to be on the outside. Be very careful. I'll say that again. Just be very careful. It doesn't matter which rail that you use, as long as you make sure that you're matching your power to your power and your ground to your ground. Never the twain shall meet. If they do, we're going to have a cookout. So don't fry anything for me. So just be careful here. Remember that, just be consistent is what I'm saying. If you're going to use the outside rail, the way they're doing it, then just make sure you line this up properly. And now to make it even more confusing, if you're looking at your Neopixel, their Neopixel is actually not printed correctly. I won't say it's not printed correctly. It's not printed the same way ours is. So, and I think it has to do with they're using a picture and they're using a mirror image of the picture, and they've lined up their leads off of that, which is a problem because yours looks different. So when you look at it, you're going to need to peer at the printing on the right under the pins. You're going to need to look at the printing because the SVG are not in the order that it looks like on theirs. So actually, I think the order might be right, but if you're trying to look at it, the schematics they have here, it's going to be the opposite. And it just has to do with, I think they took a picture of it and then reversed the picture, or didn't reverse it, as the case would be. And then they started hooking things up. But I'll show you what I mean when we start to go here. So that is what it looks like. It's going to be real simple. We're just going to take our ground right here. Our ground is going to go over here. We're going to hook up a ground. We're going to have the pin going here, and the female end is going to go here because this is a male pin up on this side. Then we're going to take the power. The power is going to go, let's say it's the inner rail. Then we're going to go inner rail to the middle one, which is the power. And then the signal is going to go over here to 16. So just directly from this to 16. So you need the male pin to the female here. So that's the entirety of our setup. Let's look at the code. So our code, it's not the whole of it, but another thing to notice is when you go to 6.1 for Neopixel, just like before, we had the PWM.py module. We need to take this one and upload that onto our device. So I'll show you how to do that in a second. They have the explanation for Thonny. I'll show you how to do it in VS Code. And then over here, it talks about what it's going to be doing. And let me tell you about the code because it's so exciting. So we're going to import time because we're going to be doing a sleep. You should know that by now. For machine, we're going to import pin because everything deals with a pin, right? We're going to have that control on 16, so that's going to be our pin. Then the Neopixel, we're going to import my Neopixel. And it's the my Neopixel module that we're going to have to upload to our system there. So we're saying that the number of LEDs on there is 8 because it has 8 on the back. Then we're going to go ahead and initialize it. So we're going to say my Neopixel, and it's going to take, the first one is going to be num LEDs. And num LEDs is going to be the number of LEDs you're going to use. So we're saying 8. And then the second one is what the control signal is going to be on. That's 16. So then we're going to set up these tuples here for red, green, blue, white, and close. So red is 25500, green is 02550, and blue is 00255. White is all 255s, and close or black is 000. So and then they set up a list here with red, green, blue, white, and close as the colors. And then it says the brightness is going to be 10, and that number can go between 0 and 255. So then we're going to start a little loop here. We're going to loop over colors. And for each color in here, red, we're going to say NP fill, and we're going to say color 0, color 1, color 2. And what that's doing is it's saying the RGB parts of it. So color of 0, so we go up to the color, which let's say it's red. Red has 255, 0, and 0 is the channels. So it's going to take the first one, which is 255. It's going to take the second one, which is the green channel, and then it's going to take the blue channel, which is color 2, which is 0 over here. So it's going to do that, which is basically going to fill the colors on it. Then it's going to show the colors on it. So that's the thing to actually have the Neopixel show it. Then it's going to sleep for half a second. And then it's going to go to the next color, green, and it's going to do the same thing. And then it's going to go to blue, white, then it's going to close, which is, I believe, the black. So it's going to go through all that. And that in itself is kind of exciting. Wait till we see the results. That's really the exciting part. So here we have Neopixel. And what we're going to need to do here is go into our directory, which has Neopixel in it. And we're going to have to go up to View, Command Palette. Then we're going to say Upload, MicroPico, Upload current file to Pico. And right now I'm not connected, so I should get an error. Yep, please connect to the Pico first. So yeah, but just know that you'll go there, you'll do that upload, and life will be good. I'm not going to plug it up because we're about to put our pins on there, and I don't want to do that and then just, yeah, it's going to be a mess. So anyway, just remember to go in here and upload this to your Pixel, and life will be good. So anyhow, let's go ahead and look at, well, let's go ahead and start building this thing. So I'm going to stop my screen share. Here is the great place we're going to be playing. So this is what I want you to take a look at. So this is the important thing. S on the top, V, and then G. So make sure that you know that volt is the middle one and ground is the bottom one. And signal is going to be on the top. Okay. So while we're at it, why don't we go ahead and put our ground as the brown. So ground is going to be brown here. So we take the female end, we just put it on there and shove it in. Then we go and we take, let's say, a different color. I'm using red for the power. So I'm going to put the red over here on there. And then I'm just going to, for the signal, I'm going to use orange. And the colors do not matter. These are all the same thing. They all do the same exact thing. It's just that they're different colors. And we use that to keep them differentiated. So that's all we're going to do. We're not using the out part because we're not going to daisy chain this to something else. And over here we have all these pretty little LEDs, which you can't tell right now because none of it's lit up. So I'm just going to set this over here. And the next thing we need to do is run our ground to the ground rail. So the way they have it, and I'll set it up the way they did it, but we're going to be very careful here, okay? So when you look here, as I mentioned before, it went, you know, like 10, 15, 20 and everything. So that's the right direction, but they had the blue, the negative one on the outside rail, and ours is different. Ours is, you know, different. It's like, I'd say it's flipped, but really because of the numbering, it just seems like their thing is wrong. So what we're going to do is we're going to just go with the wrong way that they're showing it. And that wrong being, you know, it really doesn't matter. See, all these things, as you know, are connected on the bottom. This is just a metal strip, and it doesn't matter if it says plus or minus. You just need to know that, you know, if you're using one for plus, you can't use the other for the ground. You know, if you've got positive in one, ground in the other, you just have to make sure that you're consistent all the way across. Because all this is a connected line. It doesn't know that it's positive. It doesn't know if it's ground. So that being said, we're going to go over here and we're going to run from here. We're going to run our ground right there. We're going to run ground into the outer one, which again is counterintuitive because it says plus, but we're just going to let that go for now. We'll forgive that. Then we're going to go down here and we're going to take the power, which you'll notice that, yeah, so I'll just take the power and plug it in over here. So you skip one and then you go over. And then this is going to be on the inside rail I'm using it. So I'm using it the way they show it to be, which is not necessarily the pretty way of doing it. It's kind of counterintuitive. So now the important thing is we need to make sure that our cables here go to the right places, okay? So we're going to look at it again, just to remember. So our signal is orange, right? So signal is orange. Signal is going to be going to 16 over here. So we're going to send signal to 16. I think I got 16 there. So 16, I'm gonna plug it in right there. Is that it? Yeah, that's 16. So we've got it on 16. So the next thing we need to make darn sure we got, and I remember I took red to be the power one. So we've got power going here to the inside rail. So we can do it anywhere. So we're going to do it to inside rail here because we're using the inside for power, even though it says ground, we're using it for power. Okay, but we're consistent, so it doesn't matter. Then we take the other one and we put the other one into, what do you think? We put this one into the ground, which is the upper one, because we've reversed the way we're really going to use this. So that is all that goes into this, or yep, that's all that goes into it. That's all we have to do. So you look at it, it looks exciting, right? Wow. So now we're going to plug this up and sniff and see if we can smell anything nice and toasty. Nope. Okay, great. So we're still alive. Things are all right. So now we're going to run our code. So we're going to go back there to our, now that I've got it plugged in, we'll go back to Visual Studio and I'm going to run the program that they have as is. I've already uploaded the stuff, so I'm going to run the program. So watch this. Hopefully it won't get too overpowering. Oh, look at this. This is our Neopixel. So this is it going through the motions over and over, going through that array of colors. And yes, this is interesting, but I kind of like to mess around with stuff. So I'm going to mess around with stuff. So I went ahead and wrote some stuff earlier. Let me go ahead and share the screen again. So because I just can't not mess around with stuff, I'm going to go into here and grab all this stuff that I did. And basically all I did was I went in and I modified a couple things. I decided, well, the brightness is kind of neat at 10, but gosh, I wonder if it goes up to 255, that gives us a lot of room to be bright. So my bright idea was to go in here and do a loop over brightness. So I'm going to loop over brightness from 0 to 255 just to test out the range. I'm doing a step of 5. So basically it's going to run through all your colors. Then it's going to bump it up 5 notches. And it's going to run through all the colors, bump it up another 5, and it's going to keep on going. It's going to get so bright that it's going to hurt your eyes. It's actually not going to be very pretty on here. So let's just go ahead through that and see what it looks like. Let's see. So let me switch back over to our view here. So give me just a second. I'm going to stop sharing, and that gives us the view down here. So I will go ahead and stop running the program. And I like how it, it stops on something. And we're going to take a look at that. Hold on just a second. So I've stopped there. Now let me run it and watch what happens. Oh yeah, I also changed the sleep time to like 1 millisecond. So yeah, it's going really quickly. But as it's going, it's getting brighter and brighter. And you can only see that it's kind of burning out in the video here. So yeah, don't worry about that. I've just kind of gone wild with the actual strength on that. So anyway, this kind of makes it fun. I think that, as we do other projects, oh, there we go. We start over from the light side of it again. So I also did a printout so that as it loops through everything, it's going to show us. So I'll show you what the code is doing right now. So let me show you the code. So if we look at the code here, it's printing out what level of brightness we're at any point. So you see it goes all the way up to 255 and then it's going to drop back down and it'll start back over and it'll be less intense. There we go. So anyway, what the changes I made was put in that brightness loop. And then I went over here and I changed our sleep time to 0.1 instead of 0.5. So anyways, that just makes it faster, quicker, cooler. So anyways, go wild, have fun with it. I imagine in later lessons, they're going to have us individually address these different LEDs. And when they do, that's going to open up a lot of neat ideas. So anyways, I will see you in the next lesson.